Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's January 25th, 2022. It's been another volatile week. A lot of crazy stuff happening in crypto, a lot of downside, a lot of the speculative projects crashing a lot harder, and a lot of the kind of even the layer one projects that are supposed to be the most stable are still down like 30% this week, which is a crazy week. Very, very much on par with the crypto ban in China last year in May, right? If you're first time in crypto, remember this is a normal thing. There's a lot of volatility in crypto. As a speculative asset, you have a lot of money that flows in and out very quickly, and it's very hard to value things when it's a speculative asset, right? You have a lot of data points that are not very well established, and you'll see a lot of bad projects go down way harder, and then anything that has a good ecosystem, a good project, probably didn't do as bad. And you'll see a lot of the top 5 coins that we have from the newsletter are actually doing relatively okay compared to rest of the market. So let's get into it. Last week we talked about the 10-year bond yield as an alternate investment. So if you're a hedge fund manager and you're allocating between different asset classes, let's say real estate or stocks or bonds is supposed to be your most secure return. And right now it's at a 1.78%. And last week we saw it actually hit a 1.9 almost, which is how many years? Almost like a 2-year kind of high. So we're kind of getting to the point where it's like before the pandemic. What are the rates? And if I zoom out, if you see something like up to the 4%, you're going to see stock market actually all shift over because it becomes a much safer investment than a volatile asset like the stock market. And what you're also going to see is like the S&P 500, which is again like the safest, one of the most diversified stock market purchases you can make, is also down like crazy. And remember in the newsletter, we even said there's going to be some rate increases and you're going to see these 10% drops in the stock market leading into them. Now, today is Tuesday. By the time you're watching this video, it could be Wednesday or later, you're going to see the FOMC make, the Fed chairs are meeting to talk about what they're going to do with the interest rate increases. Now, if you think about it, the market is kind of pricing in a interest rate increase. So there's actually 3 scenarios that can happen. One is that they're dovish, meaning they don't want to increase the rates, and they say, okay, the market looks volatile, let's hold off until then. Number 2 is they say we're going to raise rates by 0.25%, right? And the time frame on that could be sooner versus later. And if it's sooner, that could be bad news, right? But it's priced in. And then number 3 is maybe they say we need to raise it 0.5. I don't think it's going to happen where they say they're going to get aggressive, and it's called hawkish, right? They're going to get aggressive in raising rates. And that would, again, be the only scenario where I see a market downside continuing, at least in the short term. So what I'm trying to say is we might be at a short-term bottom because scenarios 1 and 2, which are very likely, are going to probably cause a market reversal. But in the short term, again, we have to see more inflation data and obviously more macro level indicators, right? And that might cause a crypto bounce as well as a stock market bounce back to the 440s. And again, this is all speculative. I'm not psychic. I'm just making observations on what I've seen in historical instances of rate increases. So that is kind of what I've been saying on Twitter and in my news channel is probably we'll see a bottom on Tuesday and maybe Wednesday morning and then see the bounce. But you can see this today, even the market, let's zoom in on the week view here. Even the markets are kind of resilient. If you see this, all these giant dips are kind of coming back up. Granted, these are still a downtrend, but there is a lot of money on the sidelines that is well, it's a really brutal day. I'm going to put some money in, and it's kind of keeping the market afloat. And granted, this is not crypto, so the deltas here are not that wide compared to the 30% swings we've been seeing. Now, let's go to some more news. We had the IMF, International Monetary, I forgot what the F means, urges El Salvador to remove Bitcoin as legal tender. They released a statement saying Bitcoin is a volatile asset. You should not make it part of your treasury or legal tender. We also have Andreessen Horowitz. Even though we see all this bad news, and I meant to put more bad news in front of this so that it would set up for this. Here it is. South Korea is limiting withdrawals. We talked about this a few weeks ago, where if you don't have a KYC registered wallet, they won't allow you to withdraw your funds. And that means you can only withdraw from exchange to exchange probably. And eventually you can withdraw to cash and you could cash it out. So they're trying to get rid of these non-registered wallets for money laundering purposes. or like really for tax dodging purposes is kind of the real reason. But we see a lot of money on the sidelines. Andreessen Horowitz is trying to raise $4.5 billion. This is the largest fund I've seen in this space. We also have, whoops, I hit my mouse. We also have Dragonfly Ventures raising a $500 million fund. And we just talked about last couple weeks, we saw FTX raise like a $2 billion fund. Jump Capital is like another 400 or 1 billion. Like all these funds are raising hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. So a lot of this money is just like sitting on the sidelines waiting to be deployed. It's kind of risky for these funds to buy assets outright, but it's not out of the question, right? And soon you'll see more raises that are just people just buying the assets at a discount, kind of furthering. It's kind of like a Ponzi scheme, right? You're just you're getting all this money to take the assets off the table from being sold, but it's fine. I mean, like as long as more capital is coming in, that is like beneficial for the crypto innovation, but it also obviously benefits the prices as well, which is not working right now, obviously. Grayscale, they're forming another digital asset fund, which means you can buy these assets in the stock market or in their fund. They're like, if you've seen like GBTC, it's Grayscale's Bitcoin trust. There's like a GETHE, that's the Ethereum trust. And there's actually multiple Grayscale asset class or asset holdings now. And these are the latest lists that they're looking at. I'm not actually sure. Some of these are like really old tokens, which are kind of like mind-boggling to me. It's been a long day, by the way, just back to back meetings. So my brain is a little fuzzy. But you can see our top 5 is in here, right? Like Algo, Atom, FTM is our like, and even eGuild, Elrond is part of our honorable mentions list. And then you also have Rose as well. So these are all coins that will pop if they decide to choose them, because they need to acquire a large quantity of them. And that is why people get excited when they see Grayscale show up these like lists of coins. It's the similar reason to Coinbase. If a coin lists on Coinbase, in theory, it opens up to a new pool of buyers, and that's what causes the coins to surge. Even just announcing Coinbase listing makes coins surge. And if you've watched the videos for like taking profits, you usually want to sell at those times because you're adding like a 20% premium. Like the news is propping the price up, and most likely the price is going to fade away right away, right? Russia, I probably should put this in the front, setting to ban cryptocurrencies. Again, all these pieces of bad news. We had South Korea, we had the IMF disapproving. We even have MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy is a company that pivoted to buy Bitcoin. It's essentially become a Bitcoin holding company. It's even raised debt to buy more Bitcoin, probably in the 40,000s. So it's not looking great right now. Stock is down like a lot, right? It was $900 like in November. Now it's like less than half of that. So this strategy of El Salvador and MicroStrategy just going all in Bitcoin is not currently working. And again, if you read my newsletters and stuff, I'm like the only person that's like not bearish on Bitcoin, but I obviously think it's overrated. And the whole narrative around Bitcoin is like other people need to buy it, so it keeps going up. Like that's literally the narrative, and that's not great for kind of like innovation or like Web3. It's just like a Ponzi scheme where you buy it and hopefully someone else buys it, right? You could almost say the same for NFTs, but at least NFTs are adding innovations. You also have NFT platform. Speaking of NFTs, we have a whole slew of NFT news right now. Well, this is not letting me show, but Block Party, you can see in the back of this advertisement, is striking a deal with Warner Music Group. We also have, let's just let everything load again. This maybe I had the NFT news a little bit ahead of time. So this is actually part of the bad news, which is that there were $2 billion in crypto liquidations in the last week. When I see this, I actually think it's great. Not for the people that got liquidated, but in terms of volatility, the volatility is caused by a lot of these liquidations. So if you think about it, if I purchase, let's say $1 million in Bitcoin or whatever crypto asset, some people actually borrow money on top of that. So they want to purchase $1 million in Bitcoin. They actually leverage it to like 5x of that. So they actually have $5 million in Bitcoin. And that way, if the price of Bitcoin moves up, they actually make 5x the gains, right? Now, when the markets drop like crazy, like 10%, 20%, that's when you have what is called a liquidation, meaning that whole $1 million holding gets wiped out. And that's how exchanges make money as well. But let's just say like I had a $5 million position in Bitcoin. All of a sudden, that liquidation causes that $5 million to sell against the market. So it's actually causing huge sells that push down the market, and that's why you get these flash crashes. It's like a cascading situation where when more sells cause more sells that cause more sells, and you get this like crazy bearish week, right? And you also have, back to NFT news, UFC is jumping back in the game with Dapper Labs. If you guys signed up for the waitlist, you guys should have access if you got an email. We also have Meta, Facebook, diving into the NFT craze. They want to allow people to create and sell their own NFTs on Facebook or Meta, and I think this is like a very natural. Like, obviously we saw it coming that they had to come up with NFTs. It's like if you're in the metaverse, that's like the perfect place to share or flex your how much you spent on it, really, right? Adidas, Prada are announcing an NFT. We have another project coming up that looks really great. Antonym NFT is coming out at 92,000 followers. This is actually part of our NFT program. So if you're on the Meta product for Rocket Fuel, tune in on Saturday. There's going to be a presentation by the team with Jim, our host there. And then just moving on, Lamborghinis creating an NFT. I can keep going. I can go on forever about this. Twitter has NFT verifications on your profile photo. By the way, there's a hack on this where you can just deploy a copy and paste of an NFT, and it'll still make your profile picture a hexagon. Don't tell anybody though. We even have YouTube getting into the NFT game. They want creators again to create their own, NFTs that they can distribute to their fans and become a marketplace essentially. If I go to my YouTube channel, or let's say somebody's YouTube channel, and they're offering an NFT for sale, people will buy it because there's they have an audience of millions of people potentially, right? So it's easy revenue for YouTube. And of course, they mentioned DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations. Not exactly sure how that's going to work, but we'll see how it works when they propose it. Mercedes, again, has an NFT. Again, every brand, remember my 2022 predictions, every brand is going to probably, or not every brand, but most brands are going to eventually come out with NFTs because it's a very easy marketing scheme. Ugh, I can't even talk. And that's perfect for brands that are like kind of getting out of the spotlight. They want to get back in the spotlight. They're going to announce NFTs, and then people are just going to, it's like free marketing almost, right? We also have a big hack on NFTs this week. And this is where if you had a NFT for sale and then you didn't want to pay the delisting fee, and what you did to get around this is like send the NFT to another wallet and then bring it back, right? That would actually get it off the listing. However, if you looked at the OpenSea API, you can actually see which contracts are still live for those sales. So let's say you put it up for, in this example, I'll just say theoretical. You put it up for 1 Ethereum for sale, a measly $2,500 to buy a JPEG, right? And then all of a sudden that JPEG went up to 10 grand or like 4 Ethereum. So instead of 1 Ethereum, you would have gotten 4, but you were too cheap to pay the essentially $100 of gas fees to get it off. Someone found an API to say I can buy that for 1 Ethereum from that post. And that's exactly what happened here. You can see how millions of dollars were stolen, essentially, from the Bored Ape Yacht Club and other, mainly Bored Ape Yacht Club. So these were all stolen because they were listed, but it's actually a bug. So is it really a hack? I guess it is a hack. It's an exploit. You can argue about this for a while. All right. Let's look at the overall crypto markets. So our main peg right now is Ethereum minus 24%. We can go on about why that I feel that's main peg, but if you look at it, Bitcoin is actually outperforming, and I had a tweet about this where Bitcoin can outperform the market if we're all going down. It essentially loses less value because it's a much bigger market cap, and it's got way more exposure to funds waiting to get in. So basically, it's when the whole market goes down 20%, I would expect Bitcoin to move about half as much. And you can see some of these other coins here, like Cardano, and we'll get into news on why Cardano is going down, like Solana, even Luna, Polkadot. These are all down like 20 to 30%. It's hard to stomach, right? And then again, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but if you're in crypto or actually any asset class, you always feel your worst loss. So if this is your first time losing 30%, from now on, if you lose like 10%, it's gonna be like, oh, it's just not as bad as that time I lost 30%. But it is like crypto, and crypto is an extremely volatile asset. And we even said in the newsletter we expected a 30% correction sometime in Q1, and we're kind of in the middle of it now, right? Q1 is here. So be patient. I think, again, tomorrow we probably have a short-term reversal. We got to see what they're going to do with interest rates. We got to see what happens to inflation, right? We got to get everything back to stability, and then that way things can get back on track with, innovative projects going up, projects getting adoption going up, all that stuff. But, a lot of the coins that we have in our top 5, I think Near is in our top 5. It's actually up a lot today, 15%. Algorand is up as well today, despite actually Ethereum is also up today, which is good. What else we have? Luna is actually down, and there's actually a rumor now that tomorrow is going to be a big short seller day. And I do know, and we're going to go into all of this again later in the program, I do know that there are announcements coming, right? And we'll get into that. So Luna might actually be in a good position if there is a sell-off tomorrow. So just putting that out there. Maybe we see Luna at $50 tomorrow. Might be a good time to scoop it up if it really flash crashes that low. Okay, I don't want to talk too much about other prices because we're about to go into specific projects. So let's get right at it. So Acala came out, ACA. It's a Polkadot crowd loan. For those of you that did buy it, what is the price at now? It's at 188. Let me refresh here. Maybe it's changed since then. So 195 right now. This is exactly what we said is going to happen. It's going to come out, people claim it, and then they dump it, right? And when the price dumps, it's going to be actually a pretty good value proposition, because like right now I see it at 134 million, and you have other projects here like Moonbeam, which are still in the 600 million. I'm not saying that they should be equal market cap, but I'm saying that we have seen Moonbeam, like Moon River, in the multi-billion-dollar phase, and we have seen that Karura, it's a really weird thing to pronounce, was in the couple $100 million phase. So we at least know the upside to Acala is quite high. So this was the spotlight coin last week. By the time you're watching this video, it's probably too late of the strategy that we mentioned last week. But ACA is the premier DeFi and lending borrowing network on Polkadot. So if you're any bullish on Polkadot, I would not own Polkadot, by the way, because it's a layer 0 coin. ACA is like the layer 1, which is where this coin can actually be utilized on its parachain. So right now, $195, under $2, I guess, is a good value for ACA. There's a lot of concerns that Anchor Protocol, it's the yield, the 20% yield on UST, is going to run out of its reserves in 24 days. And there has been some hints from Do Kwon, the leader of Terra Luna, that he is going to add more stuff to the reserve. So $300 million is most likely the number. This is like a loaded question, by the way. Like, all these options are adding to the reserve. So like, why would he even put a poll? Maybe the only reason why is because he's hinting at the $300 million. We also have Coinbase listing things like Maple. I think what we're going to see is a lot of Terra Luna assets getting listed on these exchanges. And the reason why I say that is because they are announcing something big in 6 days. And that is probably related to a lot of collaboration with a lot of different exchanges or funds or whatever is partnering with them. We'll have to see. We also have Stader launching a Stake Plus product. We had we had Luna X before. But remember, Stader is doing its coin sale right now. So if you look at the dates here, it's January 25th. If you were able to register from watching the video in the last 2 weeks, there is a pretty good sale. I think actually with a bear market, you might want to do the 333 just because of everything is suppressed so low right now, and it might stay suppressed, right? So that's why maybe the option 2 works better in this case. Usually I go with the short-term one and take the short-term gain, versus, and then use it as an opportunity. The opportunity cost is you can use that funds for other projects. But in this case, if everything's down anyway, and you don't have anywhere else to put the money, you have like a 33% buffer there, right? Anchor just got listed on Binance. Again, this is exactly what I was trying to say is we're likely to see a lot of Terra Luna assets start coming out of the shadows because of this big announcement, this LFG, Luna Foundation Guard, and things coming out soon. So I can't say much more, but, and actually I might not even know the whole picture, but a lot of stuff is going to be announced in 6 days. Again, if Luna drops a lot, it might actually be a good value if you know this news is coming. Prism is delayed 1 week as well. February 1st is now the date. This could have been a spotlight coin of the week, but now I'm a little bit hesitant on recommending small caps because the downside risk is quite high. We will have deposits. This is like a yield-bearing project on Terra Luna. And finally, you see Luna is at 63. It is actually, the 30-day is down 35%. So, still up 7x in a year. 70x in a year. So not terrible relative to where it started from. Cardano, they had their first decentralized exchange. SundaeSwap did not do well because transactions kept failing. And that is not good for the price, right? Cardano, we expected that it would cause some demand for ADA, and I guess it sort of did. If you zoom out on the 2-week mark, it did cause actually a lot of demand, right? 120 to 160, but that was short-lived because the exchange itself was very disappointing. In fact, Cardano has been very disappointing. There have been issues with scale, with too many transactions. Can it handle it? So far, it hasn't proven that it could. And Andre is launching Solidly, which is a decentralized exchange, coming to Phantom, a zero-fee exchange. Looks like it will be NFT related as well. By the way, one thing you want to follow are developers that consistently release good ideas. And right now, Phantom keeps getting good ideas. Last week was VE33, which is a airdrop for the various products there. And actually, the projects that are on Phantom are actually doing really well as well, like in this bear market even, right? We also have load. Oh, this is the exchange, right? So near zero slippage. How is that possible? Near zero slippage, and then and then everything else is like on Phantom. So basically, they're creating a whole ecosystem that's even more tightly coupled now. And if you look at the total value locked, it has 11 billion. And if you look at the ratio of value locked compared to other chains, Phantom is actually in a very good spot because the ratio of the actual market cap is lower. It's lower than the total value locked. So again, Phantom was already on our honorable mentions for this month. But when we have a bear market and you're looking for assets to kind of buy and hold, Phantom is a good one. So I'm gonna call this one of the spotlight coins of the week. Again, it's actually fared pretty well during this bear market. It is down 19% this week, which always makes great entry point when you have a great project that's down almost 20%. Stargaze, we talked about this last week as a airdrop claim. There are a few steps. I'm just showing you what it looks like now. If you had anything staked in Osmosis, then you could claim your reward. I believe this was about $1,500 just for the first 60%. So the total is about $2,700 or something like that, right? That is great. And this is the NFT market. What you can do though, there's a bonus if you stake this or farm this on Osmosis. You can see that there's a 15 million or 30 million bonus. And then basically, essentially you just get Osmo. And then Osmo has been honestly, just been minting like crazy. It's still doing well. Let me show you the price here. So right now it's 875. Remember, we just had a bear market where all assets dropped 30% and it's only down 8%. So it's still up 51% for the month. And remember, we're in a 3-month bear market, right? So since November, we're going down, or 2-month, I guess. And Osmo is still going up. So Osmosis, a great project. And then Also, Osmosis expands to Ethereum assets now. Gravity Bridge has enabled Osmosis to work with Ethereum assets. This is, again, like I've spoke every week. I mention Osmosis at this point. It's such a good project. It's still performing well in the bear market. I mean, 51% on anything is great, right? But in a bear market, that's very impressive. Moving forward again, Secret Network just announced $400 million in funding. They can use this to actually expand their network. $400 million, by the way, is on par with the biggest layer 1 protocols. Secret is built on Tendermint, which is part of Atom and Osmo, the same network. I am surprised, though, because Secret didn't really experience any like liftoff. Like the news is kind of back down here, right? So right now we're looking at like, oh crap, it actually just jumped 17%. This is kind of the unfortunate outcomes when I film at any time of the week. But Secret would be my second spotlight coin of the week because it is back at a price where it is before great news has happened, and then now there's been a drop because of bear market stuff. It's actually down 32% for the week though, so still a decent buy, right? If you were to look at, hey, this has a great catalyst, it has a great future roadmap, and now there's a huge funding amount, and the price is down 33%. So second spotlight coin of the week. Again, both Phantom and Secret are longer term holds. These are not like 1 week plays like some of the other spotlight coins. So want to put that out on the map. By the way, Secret is a privacy preserving smart contract project that's built on Cosmos or Atom. Solana was down 48 hours. So this is the sixth time, I think. Yeah, sixth time happening in 3 months. Sam Bankman-Fried, the CEO of FTX and founder of Alameda, I believe, he's trying to like say that, hey, listen, this is just like what happens when you scale and you get all these transactions, but it doesn't look good if your network goes down. And it happened to ADA, right? ADA went down, experienced a lot of I'm trying to look for the price, but that you can see you get punished for infrastructure failures like this. But OpenSea is adding Solana now. This is leaked images. So when you go to OpenSea, as long as you have a Phantom wallet, you can trade assets on their order book, the OpenSea order book. So that is coming. That is a very positive catalyst because right now Solana is the alternate NFT platform, and it might entice people to build more of their unique or innovative NFTs on Solana. So Solana actually might be a good buy actually too. So right now you can see I'm zooming out. It's like at the 180-day type pricing, and it's on the heels of very bad news. So the price is actually fairly reasonable now after this 34% drop. So just pointing out, things that have dropped might be good value. Not financial advice. Just want to emphasize that. And to end things off, Wonderland Time is currently in a sort of like liquidation mode. And the founder, if you click on his Twitter, is somehow not showing his tweets. What is going on, right? If you look at Wonderland now, just down 33% today. But if I zoom out here, this does not look good. It is down 86% in the last month. So it's quite a bad collapse going on right now with Wonderland. And this is something I've been saying in a lot of the previous videos, and when I talked about Olympus DAO, these DAOs, there's no way they can, even if they can sustain the rate, there has to be some exit moment, right? And that's happening with a lot of these. If you look at Olympus DAO, Ohm, same thing is happening there as well. $68. Wow. This is like even lower than what I thought would happen. So we're at let me go to the price here, from the $1,200 to $68. That's like a 95% a loss right now. In the 30-day, it's an 83%. Holy moly, or 82%. Holy moly, this is crypto, right? And a lot of these ideas, again, are just economic experiments, and we see them rise and fall in real time, depending on how good the ideas are and how much adoption or how secure they are. All these things are part of the price, right? anyways, we're just reporting on the news there. And then finally, there is something going on with JP Morgan and Chase. They're closing accounts of people related to crypto. And I'm guessing they're probably like withdrawing a lot of money. And it might be like in the hundreds of thousands is what I'm guessing. And these banks are like, okay, something's really fishy here. And they close the bank's accounts. So it's like, it's probably only people that are like heavy influencers that are selling like crazy, that are withdrawing into their banks, that are getting shut down. So that's my guess. All right, so that is the news for the week. I understand it has been a painful week. Yeah, minus 20 to 30% is not easy to stomach. But again, if you've been in crypto a while, you got to live with these moments. They happen pretty often, to believe it or not. Let me just zoom out on this chart right here. The chart looks pretty, you see these small dips, these dips, even these like small dips here are actually extremely painful. This is like a 50% dip. This one is a 33% dip. This one, 4,000. If you guys probably remember from May, this was like the China ban down to here, lower than 2,000. That's also a more than 50% drop, right? So right now we're at a 50% from the high in November. And a lot of people ask me like, is this the bottom or not, right? And I think we're kind of being dictated what's going to happen by the interest rate environment. So if there's a surplus of capital, crypto is going to go up. And if people are tightening their capital, crypto will go down. And that is essentially all it is at the macro level, right? At the micro level, there's projects that are doing really great things and still growing or still getting total value locked or still getting adoption or having innovative features like in NFTs. These are all things you want to look for if you are deploying capital. And remember, in a bear market, you have the highest upside. And as long as you have a good strategy, remember, like pick an anchor point of what price you think it's going to hit and step in slowly, buying in between, you can lower your risk on the downside. But if you are buying only when prices pump, that is obviously very dangerous. And from a probability standpoint, you're going to lose money, right? But not financial advice. I got to keep stressing it. These are just observations that I see. And crypto is a volatile asset. You can see right here, we had two 50% move downs in a year now, and many 30% moves downs. 30% moves down. Many, like every quarter at least. Okay, so that's it for this week. I guess no action items, mainly because a lot of projects don't want to launch or do sales in a bear market. So if the market reverses, like next week, let's say, there might be a flurry of news, and this is going to get to be long again. Now I've gone over time again, but we'll see you next week. Good luck out there. Stay cool, and let's see how the FOMC meeting goes. Maybe it is a short-term bottom, or let's see if the markets punish the markets even further. All right, see you all later. Thank you.